Beloved ones, we greet you in the light and love of an infinite Creator. I am ASHTAR. We, the Pleiadians, present ourselves in this sacred now to speak with you about something that has already begun to move beneath the American surface, with a force and a momentum that we, from our place of witness, had not anticipated would arrive with such speed. The outer walls of the great concealment are trembling, not silently and no longer gradually, but with the kind of decisive movement that tells us something deeper has changed at the root level, something that no human power structure, however firmly mounted across many decades, can contain when the tide beneath it has turned to this point. This will fundamentally change humanity as you know it, and we ask that you receive what follows, not with the reactive energy of a mind-seeking drama, nor with the contracted energy of a mind-seeking disbelief, but with the still, open, vast awareness of the heart, which already feels that what we are about to describe is real, has been real for a long time and is only now arriving at the threshold of the visible. I want to tell you what is coming, not in broad strokes, in specifics, because ASHTAR transmitted something in the last 48 hours that is too precise to wrap in atmosphere. He named a window, 45 days. He said it would not extend, and he named 3 American cities, Phoenix, Denver, and Nashville, as active grid points where the energetic restructuring of this country's power architecture is already registering. If you live near any of those 3 cities and you have been feeling something you cannot name in the last several weeks, you are not imagining it. You were reading it correctly. This is not a moment for fear. It never was. It is a moment for the deepest quality of attention your heart can offer. Settle in. Come home. Because what we are about to share does not belong to the future. It is already moving. And the people who feel it first, the ones whose bodies have been trying to tell them something for months, are precisely the ones this transmission was built to reach. What is moving beneath the surface of America right now is not a single event. It is a sequence, a restructuring of the invisible architecture that has governed this country's relationship with power, money, and truth for longer than most of its citizens have been alive. The Syrian Brotherhood calls it the end of the suppression cycle. ASHTAR calls it the final phase of the operation. The Pleiadians call it the delivery of what was always coming. Different languages, one reality. And your body, the one that has not been sleeping right, the one that wakes between 2 and 4 in the morning and finds the room charged with something it cannot name, the one that carries a pressure at the crown and a ringing in the left ear that no doctor has been able to explain. Your body has been registering this movement for months, because that is what it was built to do. You are not broken, you are early. The Pleiadian High Council, Mira speaking with the full Council of 7 present, came through immediately after ASHTAR's command-level declaration. And the first thing Mira said was this: "Beloved family of light, what your body has been telling you is correct. Every symptom you have been carrying without explanation is a reading. You are not sick, you are sensitive. And sensitivity, in this moment, is the most important instrument on the planet. I want to be straight with you about something. I have received transmissions for a long time, and I have never heard Mira open with that level of directness. She is warm. She speaks in images and in flows of language that reach the heart before the mind. But that sentence, delivered with weight, with precision, with zero softening, told me this is not a comfort transmission. This is a confirmation. And there is a difference between those two things that matters enormously right now. Here is what the Pleiadians named: the fatigue that sleep does not touch, the kind that 8 hours cannot fix, is not a medical problem. It is your nervous system running at a frequency it was not designed to sustain in isolation. The grid around you is upgrading. Your body is upgrading with it. But if you are running that process alone, in a body that has not been given the tools to manage it consciously, the upgrade feels like collapse." Mira said, "The exhaustion is not defeat. It is the cost of being awake in a sleeping world while carrying more of the load than was ever meant for one person. If you recognize 2 or 3 or 4 of those signals in your own body, the waking at 3, the unexplained heaviness, the crown pressure, the sense that something enormous is approaching, I need to say something to you directly. You do not have to navigate this without a map. The guide in the first pinned comment below this video What the Galactic Federation wants you to know contains the 3-layer explanation of exactly what is happening to your body right now, and the 8 specific signs of active awakening, each one named with precision so you can stop wondering if what you are experiencing is real. It is real. Find it in the first pinned comment. Subscribe to Truth Frequency so the next transmission reaches you, and drop your name, your city, and one word in the comments. The word your body gives you right now. Just one true word. Leave it below. The crown pressure, that weight at the top of your head that comes and goes without connection to pain, Mira named this as the primary sign of grid attunement. The living network of energy beneath the earth, the ancient rivers of force that the original builders of this continent aligned their most sacred structures along, is being reactivated. Your body is registering that reactivation before your mind has been given the language to explain it. That is not malfunction. That is how you were built. What Mira said next is something I have been sitting with since I received it. Beloved, the fatigue and the pressure and the waking in the dark hours are not signs that something is wrong with you. They are signs that something is finally going right with the world. You are feeling the correction begin, a correction that has been building for a very long time. And the 45-day window ASHTAR named is the threshold of its arrival. The Pleiadians ended this portion of their transmission with a single instruction for the body: water, silence, and 20 deliberate minutes of physical stillness each day. Not meditation if that word carries pressure, just stillness. Lying down, eyes closed, letting the upgrade run without interference. They said this with an emphasis I want you to hear. The body cannot integrate what it is being given if it is never given quiet in which to receive it. The Syrian Brotherhood does not transmit often. When they do, every word carries the weight of a record that spans longer than this civilization has existed. What they brought through in connection with this 45-day window is not comfortable, but it is necessary. And it is real. The Syrians opened slowly, the way they always do, with the weight of something carried across millennia. What the official record chose not to include about the American power architecture is this: the suppression was not accidental. It was engineered. The agreement was made before your recorded history began, and the structure built to enforce it has been running in this country since the early part of your 20th century. They named the system of centralized financial control specifically, not as political opinion but as historical record. What I want to be careful about is what I am saying and what I am not saying. The Syrian Brotherhood does not transmit politics, they transmit history. And the history they carry says that the control of money in this country was designed to do something beyond economics. It was designed to keep the people of this land in a specific frequency of scarcity, anxiety, and dependency. Because a population running on that frequency cannot fully wake up. The fear response that scarcity produces is the oldest and most effective suppression technology ever deployed on this planet. But here is where the transmission shifted. And this is the part I want you to hold. The grid has been running in suppression mode, but the grid is no longer holding. The Syrians did not deliver this with drama. They stated it the way you state a fact you have known for a long time and are only now permitted to say aloud. The suppression architecture, the frequency layer embedded in the American power structure for over a century, has been compromised at the root. Not by a single person or event, by the accumulated weight of millions of souls waking up inside it. They named Nashville with a specificity I had not received before. Nashville sits on a convergence point of 3 ancient energy lines, the same rivers of force beneath the earth that pre-Columbian builders of this continent understood, and deliberately aligned their ceremonial structures along. Those lines have been dormant for generations. In the last 6 months, the Brotherhood says they have begun to reactivate. People in Nashville who are sensitive have been feeling this as a quality of restlessness, a sense of something imminent that cannot be placed in time. If that is you, you are not restless. You are receiving. The Syrians hold the long record, and in that record, there is a pattern that has repeated across every civilization this planet has produced. A moment where the suppression mechanism reaches its point of maximum extension and then breaks. Not slowly, suddenly. What your body has been registering is the leading edge of that break. And what ASHTAR named as the 45-day window is the moment it becomes visible to more than just the ones who have been feeling it. They close this portion with a sentence I want you to sit with. We have watched this planet for longer than your civilization has existed. What is coming in the window your commander named is not the end of something. It is the end of the ending. The structure that held this planet in limitation was always going to reach this moment. It has. And what you call America was always going to be where it broke first. Something shifted in the last 72 hours, and I believe you felt it. Not in a headline, not in a conversation. In your chest, that particular pressure that arrives without a reason and stays without an explanation. The Pleiadian Council named this in the transmission I received before this recording. What you are feeling is not anxiety. It is the weight of the mission becoming real in your body. It is the signal that your function is activating, whether you feel ready or not. And here is what Mira said that I have been sitting with. The isolation you feel, the sense that no one around you sees what you see, is not a flaw in your situation. It was designed. The suppression of the American grid was calibrated specifically to make the ground crew feel alone. Because a ground crew operative who believes they are the only one cannot coordinate, cannot anchor, cannot hold. The loneliness was the mechanism, and it is the one the Pleiadians say is now failing. There are people in Phoenix right now, in Scottsdale, in Tempe, in the high desert neighborhoods where the sky is wide enough to feel the field, who have been waking at 3 in the morning for the last 30 days and have told no one. There are people in Denver whose left ear has been ringing since October, and who have searched every medical explanation and found nothing that fits. There are people in Nashville who feel, when they stand in certain outdoor places in that city, a vibration beneath their feet they cannot explain. These people are not separate from you. They are the same network. They are your ground crew. The Arcturian sphere, Aharon transmitting, brought something through specifically about the body that I believe is critical for what the next 45 days will ask of you. The nervous system, Aharon said, was not designed to carry the current frequency load in isolation. What is happening during a grid activation of this scale is comparable to running new wiring through an old house. The wiring can carry the load, but the upgrade process produces heat, disruption, and temporary systems irregularity. The ringing in the ears is the auditory system recalibrating to a wider frequency range. The pressure at the crown is the upper energy centers expanding beyond their habitual operating range. The waking at 3 in the morning is the nervous system completing a processing cycle that has no daytime equivalent. This is not malfunction. This is recalibration. And Aharian was precise. The signal is exact. You are the receiver. The body is not breaking down. It is being built up. But it requires conscious cooperation. Sleep when you can, water beyond what you think you need, time in natural settings where the Earth's frequency is available to your feet. These are not suggestions. They are the maintenance protocol for a system undergoing significant upgrade. The 45-day window is not only an external event, it is an internal one. What ASHTAR named at the command level and what the Pleiadians and Arcturians are translating at the body level are two descriptions of the same process. The restructuring of the American power grid, financial, energetic, institutional, is happening simultaneously with the restructuring of the nervous systems of every sensitive soul on this continent who chose to be here for this moment. You are not watching the transition from outside. You are part of its mechanism. ASHTAR returned at the close of this transmission sequence with what he called a direct sovereign directive. When ASHTAR uses that phrase, there is no softening in what follows. He does not hedge. He states what he sees and he states what is required. I want to give it to you the same way. I speak now from the command level. You are not placed in this territory at this moment by accident. You were positioned. The ground crew operative who doubts their function at the moment of activation is the single greatest risk to the operation. Not the external opposition, not the suppression architecture, the doubt. Doubt is the only weapon that has ever worked against a soul that is already awake. The doubt is not yours. It was installed, and the window is too close for you to keep running it. What must stop? And ASHTAR named this with military precision. spending more than 45 minutes daily inside the frequency field of mainstream news media, in any form, and the habit of explaining your knowing to people who have demonstrated, repeatedly, that they are not equipped to receive it. Both of these are frequency drains that the suppression architecture was specifically designed to create and exploit. They keep the ground crew running below operational capacity. What must begin? A daily 5-minute practice of spoken sovereign declaration, standing, feet on the ground, speaking aloud 3 things you know to be true about who you are and why you are here. Not thinking them, speaking them. The voice carries frequency, ASHTAR said. The spoken declaration anchors the field in a way that internal intention alone cannot replicate. The enemy of this mission has always known this. The ground crew is only now remembering it. The second thing that must begin: one deliberate daily connection with at least one other person who is awake. A phone call, a message, a shared transmission sent to someone you know is carrying the same weight. ASHTAR was direct. The isolation of the ground crew is a tactical vulnerability. Community is the counter. You do not need to organize a movement. You need to break the isolation by one connection per day. That is the operational requirement for the window ahead. I believe this with everything I have. The people watching this transmission right now are not randomly assembled. The algorithm did not deliver you here. You were directed here by something that operates at a level the algorithm serves without understanding. The soul that found this at 2 in the morning or sent it to you without fully knowing why. That movement is coordinated. It always has been. I want to close this transmission the way Mira closed the Pleiadian portion, not with a warning and not with a directive, but with something that is simply true. She said, "Beloved, you have carried the weight of knowing in a world that called your knowing a symptom. You have stayed awake in a culture designed to put you to sleep. You have held something sacred in both hands while everyone around you told you there was nothing there. And you held it anyway. That is not nothing. That is everything. That is precisely the kind of soul this moment required." The question I receive more than any other from this community is not about timelines or galactic operations. It is this: am I doing enough? Am I doing this right? Am I too late? I want to answer it directly and permanently. You are not too late. You are never early, and you are never late. You are exactly where the operation placed you, at exactly the moment the operation requires you. The doubt about timing is the suppression speaking. It is the one lie that has worked the longest on people who were never supposed to doubt themselves. The 45-day window is not a deadline. It is a doorway. The restructuring of financial systems, the cracking of the media suppression architecture, the reactivation of ancient energy lines in Phoenix, Denver, and Nashville. These are not catastrophes. They are a delivery, the arrival of what this planet was always moving toward, carried forward by every soul who chose to stay awake when staying awake was costly. When this transmission ends, I want you to do something simple. Put your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That beat is the signal of a soul that chose to be here, in this body, in this country, at this exact moment in a sequence that spans longer than any single lifetime can hold. That heartbeat is the mission. It does not require your performance. It requires your presence. If you have been carrying this alone, the knowing, the fatigue, the sense of something building that no one around you can see, what the Galactic Federation placed in the first pinned comment below this video is for you. What the Galactic Federation wants you to know carries the 21-day activation calendar, a daily companion, a specific practice, a clear direction for every morning of 3 consecutive weeks, including the morning galactic connection and the evening light anchor, so you never begin or end a day without a grounded act of deliberate presence. It is in the first pinned comment because you are not meant to carry this alone for one more day. Subscribe to Truth Frequency so the next transmission finds you. Put this in front of someone you love who has been feeling what you just heard named, and leave your name, your city, and one word below. The word your heart gives you right now, not the one you think you should say. The true one. We are reading every single one. The mission is active. The window is open. And you, exactly as you are, exactly where you are, with everything you have been carrying and everything you have always known, are precisely what this moment was built for. Go forward. The operation is already underway.